Hi everyone. So here we have a Goal GP fully gutted. This is a Japanese high pin count lock. It's equivalent to a Goal V18. I'm not sure why they have different names, but this one is a GP. But I've heard people say that the V18 is basically the exact same lock. So this lock can have up to 19 active pins in it. This one is fully pinned, so it does have all 19. It's arranged into 3 rows. So here's the housing. You can see the Bible chambers there. And here's the plug. So the keyway is just wide open, and it's going to have a row on the left, a row on the right, and a row on the top. So the pins come in from 3 different directions, and they all kind of align up here near the top. As far as security features on this particular lock, besides just having a ridiculous number of pins in it, all of the drivers are spooled. There are 2 different types of spools in this lock, and I could probably show them up close here. So there's kind of a thinner one right there. And then some of them are slightly thicker at the bottom, so you can see the difference. I am not sure why they have 2 different types. It doesn't seem necessarily like it's for balancing the stacks. I'm wondering if it's possibly just for kind of changing up the feedback between setting these when they're being picked. This one actually has a 3rd driver type. This one is just a plain driver, no spooling. It's only in 1 chamber, and it's because this pin is 0 lift. So no point in putting a spool over it because it would not have any impact. But kind of neat that there is a different driver for the 0 lift, and it wasn't just an extra spool thrown in that doesn't do anything. So that was kind of interesting. The 7th chamber on the left and right side has this kind of dummy key pin. It doesn't actually fall into the chamber. Nothing in it. If I can get it in there, you can probably see, even with it in there, nothing sticks through. But it does sit flush here, and it has a little cup on the top, and there's a ball bearing that fits right there over that. And when you turn the lock, that goes up into the Bible, and when you turn it back, it wants to fall back into this little cup, and so it biases the plug to being straight or aligned correctly, as far as getting everything lined up. So that was kind of a neat thing. These Goal locks tend to all have something like that, but a lot of times they have a hole somewhere in the plug with a spring and a ball bearing in it, and then when you gut it, the ball bearing shoots out because if you're like me, you forget it's there. But I'm wondering if this one doesn't have it because there's just literally no room, or if it's because they had so many extra holes, they're like, whatever, just put the biasing ball bearing in one of those. We don't need 21 pins. 19 pins is plenty. So if these are pinned up to be fewer than fully pinned, I think that some of the holes have something similar to this, just like a dummy driver, a dummy key pin that doesn't do anything. It doesn't interact. And that's how they do key control on these, because you can't put master wafers in these. They're too small. One thing I will show on the plug, sorry, I should have done this earlier. So you can see that there is some overmilling there in the top of that. So there's an extra kind of layer. And what that does with these spools is when you set one, you lift it and it sets. You can hear it click right there. It clicks into the overmilling, and it's not lifted high enough still for the plug to turn. So you got to kind of tap it up one more time to get it out. So that's kind of interesting. And then some of the key pins, not all of them, but some of them will have this top here, which is an overset trap. And if you lift it too high, it'll get stuck in that overmilling as well. All of the key pins do have at least one. I'll grab one of the other ones here. They do have at least kind of one ridge on them, one layer, I guess. If I can pick this one up. So you can see that one. They all look at least like that. That's not an overset trap. That's that limits how far down the pin falls into the plug, so that you don't get the key pin falling all the way across and making it difficult to insert the key. So that's all that is there for. I think that's everything I wanted to show here. Maybe I'll just throw this in. So plug fits in this housing. These metal pieces up here, that's the cover. So after you have the pins and the springs in, that covers it and holds all that together. And then this whole thing fits inside this body. It just slides in right here from the back. So nice, easy to gut format, as opposed to some of the other ones I've seen. And this bracket right here just holds everything all together once it's done and is there for installation. So I think that's it. I'll get this up on the vise and you can see it picked. It is a rather long picking segment. It's probably upwards of 20 minutes, and then the gut also takes quite a bit of time. So if you're in it for the long haul, you can watch that section, but if not, you can probably just skip ahead to the open. Lots of counter rotation, setting spools, dropping things, etc. I do talk quite a bit through the pick, so you can kind of hear what I'm thinking as I go through it. But we'll get over to that next segment, and there we go. Gold GP. All right. Got my GP in the vise. There's your key right there. Here's our bitting. I am going to be using a pair of curved multi-pick hooks for the left and right sides, and a couple of different hooks for the top, depending on how everything feels here. I'm using the convex side, I think, of the flags. So the curve is facing away from the side I'm picking, which allows me to get past pins on the other side and then push pins in over here. I'm going to pick the left and right sides before I move on to the top stack, just to get some pins out of the way. But I will have to bounce back and forth between the tops and the sides with relative frequency, as you will see. And that is because I do not know what the binding order is for this lock. I have not bothered trying to memorize it. I feel like there's too much going on to actually bother. Stuff drops all the time and I have to bounce around anyway, so trying to remember just what I've set, I feel like is more important than what the binding order is and where I happen to be in that binding order. Because there's so many pins going on in this lock, I'm trying to just go down the rows and set things. And then if something doesn't want to set for some reason, just trying to remember where that was and then go back to it. This lock is fully pinned. It's got 7 pins in the top row and 6 each in the left and right sides. There are 7 chambers in the left and right sides, as you'll see when we gut, but those hold ball bearings for center biasing, which is actually kind of a neat design. Okay, I'm having a little trouble getting these front top pins with that steep hook, so try this shorter hook here. The top stack is going well. This is much better than I feel like I normally get for the top stack. I am visually looking at where my tensioner lies here relative to the logo on the top of the lock. It says goal. Just for my reference on where I'm at in the false set. If I cannot see the L at all, it usually means something did not set right. I want to be able to see a little bit of the L over here on the side. And the more of the L I see, the better I feel about how this lock is going. Pick placement on the top is somewhat difficult just with all the stuff that's going on in here. So I think that's where I get the most challenge from this lock. Okay, I'm gonna double check the sides now that I've gone through the top because stuff inevitably drops on the sides and I have to go back and reset it. One thing I'm trying to work on discerning here is the counter rotation that you get from setting a spool in this lock and the counter rotation you get from oversetting one of the key pins can be a little similar. So just trying to keep those separate in terms of how they feel and not oversetting things. Although, as people noted to me, it does take quite a bit of force to overset something. So it's hard to do on accident. I think where I usually run into problems is if I'm trying to find a binder and I get counter rotation, it's like the only thing that seems to be moving. I'll tend to just push too much on it because it's the only thing that's binding. I'm trying to figure out what to set. Pin 6 in the back does not feel great. Back on the right side, pin 6 feels like it is very far into the chamber and it's very hard. I let tension off there and intentionally drop some stuff because I was stuck in a very shallow falset compared to where I think it needed to be. Just want to make sure that sometimes if I'm caught on a lip of a spool, it feels easier just to drop stuff and then reset them than to try to like jam that one spool out. This pin right here is a problem all the time. There we go. Pin, I believe it is 3 on the right side. Just hates to set all the way. Okay, check the tops here again. That was 5. I think part of what makes this this other hook that I have feel a little better on the top is that I think it's wider, and so I can it's easier to get it placed on the pins. I think sometimes these rounder hooks just slip off a little bit. So this one's it's got a flat top, which I think is helpful here. It's also thicker, so I feel like I can kind of bully pins a little more with it. Check the sides again. Check the other side here. Oh. There's number 2 on that side. Definitely had dropped. It's always nice to find that pin, but then I know I gotta recheck other stuff again. Back to the top. Something dropped when I set that pin right there. Oh, that's better. This pin right here. Can't tell if that's not set or not. So when I find something that feels kind of off, before I really like push hard on it, I like to just make sure that there's nothing else that I'm missing. The jiggle test. That feels easier to go. Of course, that just takes time because there's 19 pins in here and I gotta kind of go through and tap them all again. So that feels better now. I'm getting pretty close, I think. Small click there. Maybe that was overmilling I was stuck in. These back ones all feel okay. This front one's still giving me counter rotation. And it's giving me counter rotation. It feels like fairly easily. See, but then it gets. So I'm getting counter rotation off this first pin, I believe. The problem is that I just want to make sure my pick placement's on it. Just switching to bottom of keyway right there. Okay, that, just eyeballing that, which is not a great habit, it looks fine. So I'm going to leave that first pin alone. I thought I was getting counter rotation off of it, but feels like I'm maybe one pin away here. The question is just where is it? because most of these pins feel really good from a jiggle test standpoint. I'm guessing it's somewhere in the top stack, because again, those are the hardest ones to get right, just in terms of pick placement, finding them. Can't tell if that was just my pick falling off of that pin. Top stack feels fine. Make sure there's nothing in overmilling or anything over here. That was one right there. I believe that was pin 5. I think pin 5 on the left was not set. Double check the right. I'm mostly right now just seeing if I can tap anything and pop a pin maybe out of overmilling. Because if everything feels set, that just may be what's holding me up here. Hunting for the binder in these high pin count locks is kind of a pain. I'm passing the 20-minute mark, I notice, which is a pretty long pick, but I feel like I'm almost there. Literally just gotta find maybe the last one here. Come on, goal. Help me out. What am I missing? What am I missing? I'm gonna default to believing it is something in the top stack that I have messed up here. Try the thicker hook again. Not sure if that was significant or not. Might have just been a pick slip. If you've never heard that clicks are fake feedback, this lock is the epitome of that. Oh man, I got it. Whoo! Oh, soft brick. Okay, I rotated it 90 degrees and the pins fell into the chambers. So I'm gonna have to take this apart to unbrick it, but that's fine. There we go. I got it 90 degrees there. Let's gut this thing. I'm gonna use 3 trays. We'll go left, top, and right. Okay. Get my screwdriver out. Thankfully, this is in an easy to gut format. I just gotta take this bracket off the back here. I soft bricked this last time I did it too. Overexcited turn. Okay, so you can see I've turned it all the way there. So I'm gonna do this stack first because it's gonna be the one that's gonna be the pain here. So I'm just gonna pop these Bible covers off. The first time they come off is really hard, but after that they come off pretty easy. There we go. I'm going to try to be extra careful here. I'm actually going to do 1 to 7. So let's get my springs. Whoopsie. These springs love to go flying. Oh, that one brought the driver with it. I'm going to take the springs out, and then I'm going to bring this up and show the drivers so that you can see that they are oriented the right way here. Okay, and the 7th spring is going to be a little different because it's the one for the biasing. Okay. So if you can look in the pin chambers, you can see how there's the way that those drivers are oriented. So they are definitely in there so that the springs go on the top. And I'm going to go dump them right here. Well, not dump them, but one at a time. Two. I think that's this little one right here. I think once I get these I think I can pop this ball bearing. I'm wondering if it will turn back now. Okay, there we go. So once I got those springs out, now I can return this. So I can get the drivers out of those same chambers. So let's do 1, 2. These are going to fall out in a funky position. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Put that right there. And let me just fix the orientation on some of these as they fell out. Okay, so there's my left side right there. Onto the top. Top's gonna have 7 pins. Now there's probably a more elegant solution here to getting this off than just my weird prying with a pick, but whatever. I got a little bit of the shakes, so I apologize there. That is the driver from number 4. And the spring from number 4. Oops, I forgot. Oh, yeah, that'll be fine. I was going to say I forgot to show the orientation of the drivers, but that one just popped out, so I'll show the rest of them. Because the springs fit in the drivers, sometimes they pull themselves out. Okay, so you can see, again, the concave part there. And I'll dump each of these chambers. Oh, where did you come from? I'm a little concerned about that. I'm not sure what piece that is of this lock. Let's see here. I'm gonna put you right there for right now. I'm wondering if something fell into the plug when I un-180'd it. 2. 3. Okay, 4 should just be the driver, unless that's the driver from 4. Nope. 5. Oh. 6. And 7. Okay, I'm wondering where that driver came from. Bring these up here. I should probably organize those a little better, but I'll do that in a second. But there's my top stack. And finally, my right side here. I'm hoping that that driver is right there. Put that in the tray. I'm hoping that's a driver from 5, or from the right side. And maybe it just fell into the chamber? I'm not 100% sure. Unless maybe that was something that was just in the back of the chamber? Or like a plug retention thing? Again, a little concerned, but that's okay. Okay, there's the biasing. Do my springs. Got the driver from 2, came with that one. Come here, you. Let's bring this up close. So again, you can see the concave part. It's the orientation. And now I'm going to dump these. 1. Oh, that misaligned slightly. There's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. And the bearing. All right, I'm not sure, but I'll take the C-clip off and I'll show you the overmilling here. I'm gonna put the key in to get it better. I pre-removed the tailpiece from this one. If you saw my D9 video, I spent a really long time getting the tailpiece off because I didn't know how to do it. And this one, I removed it before my pick. Come on, tailpiece. Okay, there we go. Remove the tailpiece. Something might fall out of this. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's what that other piece was. It was the biasing. Okay, I'm missing a ball bearing. I may have dropped it someplace. So, actually, let me show you these pins, and then I'll show you the plug. So there's all my pins from the right-hand side. And I'll show these in more depth. I'll film something at the beginning. Okay, and then here's the plug. So you can see the overmilling in every chamber there. All right, so I think I lost a ball bearing. Oh no, wait, there's a bearing there and there's a bearing there. Okay, I've got all the pieces. Great, fantastic. This lock is a pain in the butt to take apart. It's a pain in the butt to put together. But I did it. I opened it. I got it on video. Goal GP, fully pinned, 19 pins. I will do a little quick segment to show in the beginning where I will show all of these pins in all their detail up close. But again, there's my left-hand side. There's my right-hand side with some of the pins upside down very clearly when I dumped them. And then here is my right-hand side. Sorry, the last one was the top-hand side? The top. And here's my right-hand side. Again, some of the pins are upside down here. Look, there's one right there that's not a spool. Huh. Is that the only one? You know why that's not a spool? Because that's the zero lift. Ha! I didn't even realize that. Interesting. All right, cool. That's it. GP, picked, gutted. This lock was a pain. I have another one. I'll try to pick the other one, but I'm not going to gut it because it's in a weirder format. It's just a mortise cylinder, and there's no way to do it like this one with the top strips. So that's going to be a total pain in the butt. That one's going to get picked and never gutted, but this one I'm fine gutting. So awesome. Black belt level 2 lock. Done. One and done. Thanks for watching. I know it was really long, but appreciate it.